Today's episode is brought to you by Musical Theater Radio's merch store. Looking for that perfect gift for someone or just want to treat yourself to some great musical theater themed merch? Head to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the All Things Theater button on the homepage and check out all the different designs available. And now, today's interview. Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. If you are looking for a musical to see, today's episode is for you. If you are in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, from May 1st to the 11th, check out The Band's Visit, which is playing at the Winnipeg Jewish Theater. To tell us all about the production is Dan Petrenko and Anat Kriger. Welcome to the both of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Now, before we get into the production and finding out all about it, we got to get to know you a little bit better. Now, Dan, you've done this before, so you're going to have to show how it's done. So I always ask for a 30-second bio. Who is Dan in 30 seconds?
Who is Dan? Oh, it's in 30 seconds. Okay. Start the timer. I'm currently the artistic director here at Winnipeg Jewish Theater. I've been in the position for the last nearly 3 years, and I'm also directing this show. Before Winnipeg, I was running a nonprofit theater company in Toronto, and I've also done some work in the States and in London as well. So now I'm based out of Winnipeg, and we are about to premiere the biggest production Winnipeg Jewish Theater has ever done in its 37-year history. So very exciting times.
Nice. All right. You've seen how it's done. Nat, who are you in 30 seconds?
My name is Anat, and I am an artist. I moved from Israel about 10 years ago to Canada. Went to theater school, started my way in acting, pandemic, all of the things, and now here I am at the Winnipeg Jewish Theater, and I'm very excited to be playing Dina in The Band's Visit.
Very cool. Well, let's jump into the production now. Look, put on Dan. Time to put on your artistic director's hat. What drew you to this show for the company?
Yeah, I first came across this show not on Broadway and not on the national tour, but on London's West End at the Donmar Warehouse, which is this beautiful, intimate nonprofit space right in the center of London. They had a limited time production of this show, and I believe to date it's the only production where the entire cast was made up of Israelis and Arab actors. And I thought it was such a special show, such a special story. It's nothing like I've seen or heard in the musical theater canon. And then when it came to programming this season at Winnipeg Jewish Theater, it was an obvious choice because over the past 2 years, all we've been hearing about in the Middle East is conflict and war. And The Band's Visit shows us a layer of the Middle East that is about humanity and about people and about the things that bring us all together. And in this case, music.
Yeah.
It reminds us that all of us share the same pains and joys, and we all feel anxiety and fear and laughter. We all cherish music, no matter what side of a border we live on. So I thought there was no better time to tell that story than right now from our stage. And I really do hope that other Canadian theater companies program this show, because this is the time to tell this story of unity.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, it's an important story, especially right now, what's going on with everything. Dan, I'd love for you to tell us, what is The Band's Visit about?
Band's Visit was written and composed by David Yazbek and Itamar Moses, who are Broadway legends. And it is about an Egyptian orchestra that arrives from Alexandria to a town in Israel. They were invited to perform a concert at an Arab cultural center, but after a mix-up at the border, they end up in an Israeli town, but the wrong Israeli town. And they stay there for just under 24 hours. And the whole show is about how these kind locals at the wrong Israeli town take them in and the connections that they build under the desert sky.
Now, I don't know if the answers will be different because we'll take off your artistic director hat, just throw on your regular director hat. Um, what drew you to it, and what have you brought to it that might be slightly different? And tell us a little bit about your directing style and how you approach the show.
Well, something that I'm very excited about is that we've been able to put together a cast of really some of the top Canadian talent of Jewish, Israeli, Arab actors and actor musicians. We have part of what's special about this show is that you hear Middle Eastern styles mixed together with jazz and what you would consider as traditional musical theater sound. But more than just style and genre, the instruments themselves. So we have an oud player, we have a reek, which is a similar to what we know as a tambourine.
Darbuka.
A darbuka and all these percussion instruments. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm very excited about the sounds, and that's something that we really tried to accomplish in this production is have it as culturally authentic as possible in terms of building the band and building the cast. This is, I believe, only the second non-replica production. So the tour and the national tour and any other tours that have gone out on the road were all replicas of the Broadway show. So there was a non-replica done in Boston last year, and then we're the first Canadian production for the second non-replica show. So we've had a bit of time to play and really explore these characters and figure out what the town of Beta Tikva, where all of this is set, looks like and feels like in our Winnipeg context. So that's been a joy to explore and with our designers and with our cast over the last few weeks, and very excited that it's all coming together.
Cool, very cool. And I'd love to hear about how you heard about it and how much did you know about the show and your involvement. I'd like to hear from your side of the story.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the show anywhere, and I've heard about it when it was in West End because Miri Mesika, who is one of the most popular Israeli singers, played Dina, and I really followed her journey and this on her Instagram, and like I saw all of the interviews she's been doing, but for some reason I didn't really like I knew she is playing the part in a show, but for some reason I didn't really know about the show itself. And then when I saw the casting notice for this and I saw the characters breakdown, I'm like, wait, what? Like every single character is like Israeli or like the band who is Arab. I'm like, hold on a second, I need to know more. So I started really doing my research, and I'm like, okay, I need to be in this. I don't care how, but I belong there. So it was quite obvious that I belong in this show, and then I heard the music, and it was like Dan mentioned, like nothing I've heard before. So many layers of different styles and instruments, and every song is different, and it really blew my mind. So, yeah.
A lot of times as actors, you bring yourself to the character, but then the character inhabits you as well. What have you discovered about maybe yourself and the character, because you become one with it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a good one. So when I auditioned for Dina, for some reason it felt really natural to me. I was auditioning while doing another show in Nova Scotia, and really had no time to prepare. Um, but from the first moment I read the materials, I'm like, oh my God, this feels like home to me. And I didn't realize how much I can relate with Dina until we started rehearsals. And then all of the emotional layers came out, and I saw all of the things that I have in common with her. And and I feel like from the outside, maybe sometimes Dina's character seems funny and, shallow. I don't know, like not really deep, you know what I mean? But if you see the show, or if you're working on the show, you realize how many layers there are in her, like every person, right? In real life, and I think that's the magic, and that's also the journey that I love about her in the show.
Very nice. Dan, we all know theater is a collaborative effort, and you're the director, but tell us a little bit more about the creative team that you've put together for this.
Sure. So we have a creative team made up of local Winnipeg artists. Our music director is an incredible musician and leader in the room, Paul DeGurse, who's worked on numerous productions here in Winnipeg and all around the country. Our choreographer is Gillian Willems, who has a beautiful vision of movement through this piece, because I think before we went on the air, you mentioned it's not a very dancey show. In fact, it's not a very dancey show. If you're coming to see the band's visit and expecting big dance numbers with jazz squares and whatnot, and that's not this show. But Gillian really was able to find a language for movement that brings the characters and the musical moments to life and to elevate them. So she's done a wonderful job with that. And I will mention our set and lighting designer Ksenia Broda Million. She was able to capture all these locations because the play does move from location to location to location within our limitations at the Winnipeg Jewish Theater. We don't have a fly house. We can't fly sets in and out. We don't have a revolve stage. And I think both when the band's visit was done on Broadway and in London, there was a revolve that was pretty essential to the way the set operated. We didn't have access to that, and she managed to build a beautiful set and light it in a way that it all works, and we can clearly delineate all the distinct locations. So we're very blessed to have the best of the best working on this.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you both this question. Dan, I'm going to start with you. Is there a song in the show that touches you, that just stands out to you, on a personal level, that just resonates?
Yes, there is. I don't know. I try to avoid answering, do you have a favorite song in the show, especially when I'm in the process. But I'll tell you that there is the song Something Different, which Anat sings, actually. It's a duet with between Dina and Tawfiq, that no matter how many times I hear it, I feel it right in my heart. Like it's just got so much depth to it, and it's the moment in the show where she realizes what she's been waiting for. And not necessarily that she got it, but she knows this is what's been missing out of my life. And I think we all can relate to that feeling. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment of connection and spirituality. It's the best of magic in theater. John Paul, I hope you can make it out and see that moment yourself.
Winnipeg's a touch far from Toronto, but I've never been to Winnipeg. This is one place, I think this is the last place in Canada that I haven't been to. So maybe one day I will head out there. Maybe not in the next week, but eventually I will get out there and check that out. Excuse me. And the same question, what is there a song that resonates with you?
Yeah, well, Dan stole my answer. I do something different moves me in a way that I did not expect. And yeah, every time I've been working on it, I've been singing it, I just it's just such a beautiful song. But because we already talked about that song, I will talk about a different song, which is Puppy's song, and it's it's just such a fun moment in the show, that also I feel like it's the actor who Elliot who plays it who is brilliant, and the staging of it and everything else that is happening. And I'm not going to give too many spoilers away, but it's just such a fun moment in the show, and there's a lot of like deep layers throughout the show, and many people in the show are going through a lot, and this is just such an honest moment about like being vulnerable, but then it's also funny, and it's a pure comedy, pure musical theater comedy, and it's really one of my favorites. And unfortunately, I can never see it because I'm always backstage. But when we were in the rehearsal hall, it was definitely one of my favorite moments.
That is the curse of being in the show, right? You don't get to see the scenes that you're not in and you wish you could.
Yeah.
Um, Congratulations to the both of you for the production and being in it and getting it on its feet. Now, the most important part of the question for the interview, how do people get tickets? What's the websites, the socials? How do we get to know the show, the company, and yourselves better?
Well, first you go on aircanada.ca and book your flight to Winnipeg.
Not a sponsor, unless they are, maybe.
No,
Oh,
not on this one.
Air Canada, listen to this.
There's sponsorship opportunities, right? No, anybody listening who's in Winnipeg or near Winnipeg can go online at wjt.ca and book tickets to the band's visit. Many dates are already selling out. We've had to add some shows because of high demand, so that's wonderful. And the show opens this Friday and closes May 11th. So if you're in Winnipeg, come see the band's visit at Winnipeg Jewish Theater.
Very nice. And on an individual level, if they want to get to know, and yourself, if they want to learn more about you as a performer, is there socials that they could check out and things like that?
There is. I am out there everywhere, mostly on Instagram. Anat Kriger. Feel free to follow along.
Fantastic. Well, again, congratulations to the both of you getting this on its feet. It is. I love this show on a personal note. It is so different than anything else out there. Just from a tonal standpoint, from a pacing standpoint, from just everything. And I think people should go to see it. And being only the second to do an original type production of it in the world from the sounds of it is incredible. And I would love to have more people see it. So yes, Air Canada, sponsor them. Get people to Winnipeg. And people should go see Winnipeg. It's one place I haven't been, like I said, and I'd love to it.
Yeah.
So speaking of Winnipeg, just as a side note, what is it about what in Winnipeg should people come and see outside of obviously the show? What is it in Winnipeg that you think that is underrated that people should enjoy about it?
I don't think many Canadians know this, but we have a huge arts and culture scene here. We have all year round, there are festivals, the jazz festival's huge in the summer. We have a comedy festival that brings out A-listers from Hollywood and all around the world. And there is theater year-round, any night of the week. There are at least 3-4 professional, really wonderful shows playing at all the theaters around the city. There's opera, ballet. If you're into arts and culture, Winnipeg is sort of the place to be.
Awesome. All right. Again, Dan and Anat, thank you so much for coming on and letting the world know about the show. And yeah, hope everybody heads to Winnipeg in the next little while.
Thank you for
Thanks,
having
Jean-Paul.
us.
Thanks for having
Awesome. All right. Like I said, we were just speaking with Dan and Anat, the director, the artistic director of the company, as well as one of the performers in The Band's Visit, which is playing at the Winnipeg Jewish Theater from May 1st to the 11th. So yes, definitely go check that out. Support the arts, support work. And this is a damn good show. I love this show. Go see it, support them. And trust me, you'll come out, smiling and enjoying yourself. Tune in next week as we do this all over again, as we speak with another guest or guests about their life, love, and passion. That is musical theater. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanov. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.